All right, what's up everybody? Welcome to Carolina Wild Harvest. Ben and Tiffany here. Today we're coming at you with a video on how to use and get the most out of your pumpkins, especially after you cut them up for Halloween, making your jack-o'-lanterns and all that fun stuff. We're gonna give you some ideas on how to basically get the most out of them and not let any of it go to waste. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so pumpkins are actually a really cool squash. They're a member of the Cucurbiceae family, which is all of your squash, your zucchinis, your butternut squash, all of that. So they're actually a great fruit to eat, a great vegetable. Most people think of them as a vegetable. You can eat actually all of it, except probably the stem. That's probably not a great palatable part of the pumpkin. But even these massive pumpkins that we have here can actually be consumed. So we like to take most of the inside flesh out of the pumpkins to save for soups and baking as well. There's lots of different recipes for cookies and stuff like that where you can use pumpkin as the base. And also the seeds. So the seeds are also very much edible part of the pumpkin. They're great roasted, and you can also like powder them and make kind of powders out of the pumpkin as well. They're very high in lots of different nutrients that are great for you. So that's a great way to use all of the pumpkin, both the flesh as well as the seeds.
Woo! I did it!
Awesome. So this will have lots of seeds, and they're really massive seeds too, so.
And they'll be great for saving, right?
Yeah, so another thing you can do is seed save from these massive pumpkins. And yeah, they're pretty much all viable seeds. A lot of people will just leave them in their yard or something, and then next year they'll have pumpkin vines growing everywhere. Yeah, so like leaving them in your backyard and just letting them, you know, rot in your backyard and become compost, become part of the soil. You can actually add them to your own compost pile if you have a compost pile. If you don't want a bunch of, you know, pumpkin volunteer plants next year coming out of your compost, maybe take the seeds out and just compost the rest that you don't use. But I definitely highly recommend saving the flesh and, you know, cooking that and then making a puree out of it and freezing it for later, or making a soup out of it and freezing that for later, because it's really a great vegetable to use. So fun story. Last year at my old work, my old job, we always do fun stuff. We used to always do fun stuff for, you know, different holidays, and we did a pumpkin carving contest. So we broke into groups, and like each group got a pumpkin, and we were supposed to carve, you know, the pumpkin, something fun, and you know there were judges that, you know, gave out a prize. Well, and instead of actually carving our pumpkin, I convinced our group to not carve the pumpkin and just save it. And I took it home and did what we're doing here. Saved the seeds, cooked the seeds, and just saved those as snacks, and then made puree out of the flesh. So maybe a little bit of a buzzkill for the party, but
got a lot out of it though.
Yeah, I definitely got.
Still have the puree.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah. Look at all these seeds from just this one.
Yeah, we're like halfway through with that. Good.
All right, you guys, we are done carving our pumpkins. Now we are going to show you what we do with our leftovers, our seeds, and the guts, as well as the pumpkins when you're done decorating for Halloween or whenever you're done with them. Don't waste them, don't just throw them out. There are tons of things that you can do with them, so let's jump into it.
The first thing we are going to do with our pumpkin is utilize the seeds. First things first, rinse the seeds. Of course, we're going to save seeds for growing next year, and the remaining seeds are going to be baked with the shells on to give to our rabbits, and of course maybe eat some ourselves, and the rest of them are going to be shelled. There are a few different methods to actually shelling these, but this time around we're going to be boiling the seeds, cutting the sides of each seed, and popping the inside out. Then we will season those and bake them, and then compost the shells. Second, we are going to remove the rest of the pumpkin guts and give those to our chickens. If you don't have chickens, this is a good part to put in your compost. Third, we are saving the flesh of the pumpkin. You can definitely peel the skin off, cut into chunks, and then can the pumpkin like that, and it will preserve for much longer. We ended up canning some, but we mainly made a pumpkin puree to use now and to freeze some for later. To do this, we cut up the pumpkin and laid it skin side up on a baking sheet. Then we add water to the pan and bake at 350 for 40 minutes. Take that out of the oven and let it cool. The skin should peel right off, and the skin is another part of the pumpkin that will be composted. Now we're just left with the flesh. Let's place that in the food processor and blend it till a puree is formed. Then we're going to put the puree into containers and freeze or put in the fridge. Just one pumpkin for us produced 15 pounds of puree. That's going to go a long way. This will go toward making a lot of food throughout the year, including soups, casseroles, desserts, and the list goes on. The fourth thing you can do is something we already talked a bit about, and you could just compost the entire pumpkin. If you have already carved it and it's been sitting on your porch for a month, it is definitely not safe to save a rotting pumpkin for consumption. So you can put this pumpkin in your compost pile or somewhere in the yard. Just don't throw it away. Lastly, if you have any pumpkins that you just simply do not want to process because you already have too many or whatever the case may be, please consider donating them to a local farm rescue. The animals would be incredibly grateful.
All right, you guys, that is going to wrap up this video. Leave us comments down below and let us know who did a better job at carving the pumpkin. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe and we will see you next time.
Peace.